I know Brad out
Okay.
there. So,
Hey, let's call a meeting to order and stand for the pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Counselor Peterson.
Here.
Counselor Geisler.
Here.
Nelson.
Here.
Counselor Hochschild.
Here.
Mayor Boucher.
Here. We have no public hearings tonight. Mr. Mulder, you have some correspondence to highlight?
just the one piece was the resignation letter from Counselor Peterson. So we'll just run short for I guess 3 months, October, November, December, and then wait for the outcome of the election. Thank you, Natalie, for your years of service.
We're not done yet. Presentations, Mr. Mulder, we had several two presentations of pre-agenda. Would you like to highlight those for us?
Yeah, so the first one was from Eric Larson, DSGW, who's doing the design work for the ice arena. We looked at a couple options. First, the option of building to the west, and then the preferred option of potentially looking to build an addition to the east, and both in terms of kind of the budget plan and then kind of the dream plan. They were going to talk to the school district tonight about the school district's willingness to allow us to build to the east and potentially add school district offices to the ice arena.
And then the finance director presented the general fund budget preliminary for next year.
And I'll just give you a brief for anybody watching. The proposed budget is a 7.92% increase in expenditures, a 6.91% overall levy. We had some general fund levies going up a little bit more. That levy is going down quite a bit. We're at about a 7% increase in the levy, but because of equalized values have gone up and we've had new growth, the rate will go down 2.6%. So, you know, if somebody's home did not change value, they would actually pay less in taxes next year. But it's likely everybody's home increased in value a little bit. So we've tried to kind of use that growth to reduce the impact on people's tax rate.
Thank you. I glossed over number 4 announcements. Do any council members have announcements they'd like to make? Now we have item 8, public discussion. This is a time that individuals can address the council about any item not on the agenda. We ask that you limit your time to 3 minutes per person. There will be time later for items on the agenda under each individual item for public discussion. But if there's something that the public would like to discuss either in person or online, this would be the time. If you could step forward to the podium and state your name and address for the record.
Brad Salo, and I live on 5931 West Arrowhead Road, just outside of Hermantown in the Solway Township. Just came to briefly discuss, I didn't get it on the agenda, but came to briefly discuss the Hermantown City Bow Hunt. And a recent proposal actually was carried through in the city of Duluth Bow Hunt. They eliminated the earn a buck requirement. And currently, I don't know if you know this or not, but in the city of Hermantown, we require that a doe be shot before a hunter can go after a buck. And so basically, the city of Duluth made that decision with the ABA, or the Arrowhead Bow Hunters Alliance. That's the group that runs the hunt. And they've decided to put a 1-year limit on that rule, basically because the deer population is down quite a bit for a number of reasons. The bow hunters have been quite successful in limiting the population. Then, of course, you got growing coyote, wolf, and bear populations taking their share. Then there's always the winters that we have that limit the population as well. So so my proposal is to do the same thing in Hermantown. I do not think it would be a problem. I heard from quite a few hunters that it takes a lot of effort to find that doe. And all the while there are bucks walking right by them. I've experienced it myself. So actually, in the long run, it may allow us to take more deer. If those bucks are allowed to be shot. You know, some hunters aren't picky. They want to shoot the first thing that walks in front of them. But that's, I could go into a lot of background information, but in the interest of saving time, that's the gist of it.
Thank you, Brad. What we would do with something like this is forward it to staff for recommendations. We have administrative staff that is in charge of this policy and the implementation, namely the chief of police. And we would give it to him for his overview and recommendation back to us. So staff looking at this at the earliest possible convenience and get back to us on that.
Very good. Yeah, I remember talking to Jim last year about it.
But we'll be forwarding this to him and asking him to look, he's the one that looks out for the city's interests, best interests in these matters, and he will be able to formulate some type of recommendation.
Okay. Very
Maybe, can I ask a question?
Sure.
Maybe you said this and I missed it, but when would the season start and when would you need to know a policy change?
Yes, good questions. Season for bow hunting starts generally in the middle of September. So this
Okay.
year starts September 17th.
Okay,
And then I think that Jim has the ability to change the policy probably anytime he wants.
okay,
And hunters would pick up on that fact when they come to get their permit.
Right. okay. Okay,
Most hunters should be doing.
Is that something that would have to come back to the council, or is that something Jim just can change and?
I was gonna look, I don't know if it's by ordinance or not. If it's by ordinance, you'd have to approve it. And you'd have to approve it on the 6th and the 19th. But if it's just a policy, then that could be just, well, whether that's something Jim can do or whether it needs to come to council.
But there's
Okay.
time for that process if that's the
Right.
way it has to go.
perfect.
I think, John, you did get this inquiry, right?
Correct.
And sent
Yeah.
it to John and John.
Well,
Gardner.
Brad had sent an email today that we,
Yeah, I got a copy and I forwarded it.
and then I've had a couple
Jim
other
Chris.
hunters comment the same thing. Others that hunt in Duluth and Hermantown.
And so Jim's received it already, which is great.
Good. Okay.
And thank you for sending the email. That was helpful.
Yeah, thank you.
Mhm.
Any other questions?
Nope.
All right. Do I need to spend more time here tonight?
No.
Or?
You can leave if you've got something
Very
to do.
exciting. I'd like to say.
Well, it's very exciting, entertaining and informational. But if you have other priorities, we understand.
Thank you.
All right, thanks.
Thanks, Brad.
Is there any other public input either in chambers or online? If anyone has public input, please state your name and address for the record. One last opportunity for public discussion. We will close public discussion and move to the consent agenda, which has the minutes from the last meeting and accounts payable. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
I'll second.
Motion by Counselor Housechild, second by Counselor Geisler. Roll call, please.
Counselor Geisler,
Aye.
Counselor Nelson. Aye. Counselor Housechild,
Aye.
Counselor Peterson.
Aye.
Mayor Boucher.
Aye. We have no ordinances this evening. We have resolution 2022-105. Resolution authorizing and directing mayor and city clerk to execute and deliver agreement between the Hermantown Police Department and the Hermantown Community Schools for Police School Liaison Officer. Do you have a
Motion.
motion?
Motion to approve? Second.
Motion by Counselor Peterson, second by Counselor Nelson. Mr. Mulder.
So this is a renewal of the contract that we've had with the school district for a number of years that just allows us to provide a school resource officer with the school's use. The school board hasn't approved this yet, but they reviewed it last week and we expect them to approve it next week.
Thank you. Do we have any questions or comments from council?
Do you want to say your piece?
I just want to say that I support this, especially as a former school resource officer, that This is a very valuable component of our community and our relationship with both the school district and our students in the district. In that they are not just, school officers are not just there to arrest, they're there to educate and provide a counseling resource to our students and help guide them through rough periods in life. And this has been a very positive aspect of our community with considerable community support. And I appreciate that compared to some other communities that may not have that kind of support. Thank you. Is there any other comment from council?
Just questioning, they still teaching the DARE program
Yes,
too?
their
correct?
program is
Yep.
still part of this.
Okay.
It also provides officers for athletic events that need it, like hockey games, football games at no extra charge. Anything else from council? Is there any public input on this matter? If any member of the public wishes to comment, please state your name and address for the record. Last opportunity for public input on resolution 2022-105. Roll call, please.
Counselor Nelson.
Aye.
Counselor Housechild.
Aye.
Counselor Peterson.
Aye.
Counselor Geisler.
Aye.
Mayor Boucher.
Aye. Resolution 2022-106, resolution approving agency agreement with the state of Minnesota for federal participation in advanced construct for SAP 201-101-14/202-104-012. Do we have a motion?
I'll motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Counselor Geisler, second by Counselor Nelson. Mr. Mulder.
So the city is scheduled to get federal money for the Uggstead Road project. In order to do that, we need to have an agreement for the MnDOT to act as our agent in that process.
Thank you. Do we have any questions or comments from council? Is there any public input on this resolution? If so, please state your name and address for the record. Is there any public input or discussion on this resolution? Is there any public input for resolution 2022-106? Roll call, please.
Counselor Housechild.
Aye.
Counselor Peterson.
Aye.
Counselor Geisler.
Aye.
Counselor Nelson.
Aye.
Mayor Boucher.
Aye. Resolution 2022-107, resolution accepting the proposal from Northland Consulting Engineers for engineering services to remove the bridge on Lindahl Road over the Midway River under the city engineer's contract with the city.
Motion to approve. Second.
Motion by Counselor Nelson, second by Counselor Peterson. Mr. Mulder.
So we've talked about removing the bridge over the Midway River over at Lindahl Road for a couple of years. So this would get that process started with preparing plans and specs, and then we'd remove that next spring.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from council?
Just my usual comment with contract with Northland Consulting is that my son works for Northland Consulting Engineers, that the result of this contract has no financial benefit to him or myself.
Thank you. Any other comments? Is there any public comments on this resolution? If there's any public input on this matter, please state your name and address. Is there any public input on resolution 2002-107? Roll call, please.
Counselor Peterson.
Aye.
Counselor Geisler.
Aye.
Counselor Nelson.
Aye.
Counselor Housechild.
Aye.
Mayor Boucher.
Aye. Resolution 2002-108, resolution accepting the proposal from Northland Consulting Engineers for engineering services to design and construct sanitary sewer trunk line spur from Oak Ridge Drive to the section 24 trunk line under the city engineer's contract with the city. Do you have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Counselor Peterson, second by Counselor Housechild. Mr. Mulder.
This has been kind of a part of the discussion several years ago about eventually connecting Oak Ridge with the sanitary sewer that goes through section 24. That would allow us to remove a lift station and all of that sewer that can then go by gravity. This would also allow for the development in the latter half of the Peyton Acres development as well.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from council?
The same as the previous, that the result of this contract has no financial benefit to my son or I.
Thank you. Is there any public input on this resolution? Is there any public input on resolution 2022-108? If anyone from the public would like to comment on this resolution, please state your name and address for the record. Roll call, please.
Counselor Geisler,
Aye.
Counselor Nelson,
Aye.
Counselor Housechild,
Aye.
Counselor Peterson,
Aye.
Mayor Boucher.
Aye. Resolution 2022-109, resolution authorizing and directing mayor and city clerk to execute and deliver a cooperative agreement between the city of Hermantown, city of Duluth, and St. Louis County in project SP 069-691-033, CP 0091-401108. Do we have a motion?
So moved. Second.
Motion by Counselor Housechild, second by Counselor Geisler. Mr. Mulder.
So this agreement would be with the county so that we could have the stoplights at Haynes and Anderson repainted next year as part of their Haynes Road project. We had previously agreed to that a couple of years ago, but at the time Duluth did not want to proceed, so we did not do it. But now they're ready to proceed, and we want to do this as part of the county's project next year.
Thank you. Do we have any comments from council on this? Is there any public comment on this resolution? If so, please state your name and address for the record. We are open for public comment on resolution 2022-109. Some comment. Last opportunity for public comment on this resolution. Roll call, please.
Counselor Nelson,
Aye.
Counselor Housechild,
Aye.
Counselor Peterson,
Aye.
Counselor Geisler,
Aye.
Mayor Boucher.
Aye. And last, we have a motion to recess.
Motion to recess?
Motion by Counselor Nelson, second by Counselor Peterson.